Success is not for the chosen few. It is for the few who choose. Pause. That is the line in the sand, the private vow whispered when the room is empty and the doubts are loud. Most people wait for life to tap them on the shoulder with permission. They wait for a sign, a season, a surge of confidence that carries them like a wave to the shore of their potential. But the 2% already know the sea is moody, the wind unstable, and the shore always farther than it looks from the pier. They stop waiting for perfect water. They decide to swim. Consider how many times you promised yourself you would begin when things calmed down. The calendar flipped, the noise remained, the calm never arrived dressed in white, and somewhere between the promises and the postponements, your dreams learned to sit quietly in the corner and stop asking to go outside. Beat. Now breathe. Invite them back to the table. Tell them it was not their fault that you chose comfort. Tell them the hour has changed. Watch how quickly they forgive you when they see you stand. The difference between almost and actually is not drama. It is repetition. The 2% are not louder. They are steadier. They are the ones who learn to keep a promise to themselves when no one is keeping score. When the world asks for fireworks, they are tending embers. They know that a life does not transform because of a single dramatic moment. A life transforms because of 1,000 quiet ones that nobody uploads. Success begins behind the eyes. If your inner world is a courtroom, your actions will always be on trial. If your inner world is a workshop, your actions will always have tools nearby. Those who circle the block keep telling the same story about how the traffic is unfair. Those who escape the loop get out and start walking. They stop arguing with the street and start counting steps. Their language changes. The sentence that begins with can't becomes a question that ends with how. Failure for most is a verdict. It arrives wearing a black robe and bangs a gavel that echoes for years. For the 2%, failure is a version. It is a draft with red ink. It is a lab result scribbled with useful arrows. They feel it fully, because pretending not to hurt is a costume that rips at the first gust of honesty. But they do not assign it power over tomorrow. They ask what it taught that victory would have hidden. They write that lesson down where they will trip over it. Then they return to the workbench and begin again while the paint is still drying on the lesson itself. Let me show you a small kitchen at 2 in the morning. The tiles are cracked. A cheap lamp kisses the countertop with a weary glow. A woman in an oversized sweater is printing labels on a second-hand machine that occasionally coughs out 2 at a time. Her idea is not large enough yet to feed the rent, and the rent is not patient enough to wait for her idea. Someone told her to wait until she had more capital, more support, more certainty. She waited for none of it. She learned the skills she did not have, sold what she could stand behind, and apologized with integrity when the post office lost a package. The first month was a whisper. The 6th was a hum. The 12th was a song that played even when she slept. She did not stumble onto luck. She crafted it with hands that refused the gravity of later. There is an almost holy ordinariness to discipline. Motivation is theater, discipline is carpentry. Motivation is the thunder that gets the crowd cheering. Discipline is the rain that soaks the soil until tomorrow has something to grow in. The 2% design the day before the day designs them. They wake at a time chosen in a calmer hour. They eat before the world eats them. They move their bodies so their bodies will move their minds. They clear a space where their attention can breathe without being suffocated by 1,000 small alarms that insist on calling themselves urgent. Then they do the unglamorous thing that lives at the top of the list, even when the mood tries to lift something lighter. When the head resists and the heart hesitates, they begin anyway, because dignity follows the person who follows through. Watch a craftsperson at dawn. The city is barely awake. Nobody is clapping. Nobody is filming. There is only the tap of a tool, the soft scratch of pencil against wood, the slow unfurling of a plan that will take as long as it takes. The first attempts are crooked. The measurements are off by an inch that refuses to admit it belongs to the ruler. The craftsperson does not spiral. The craftsperson adjusts. Weeks later, the hands are steadier, the cuts cleaner, the breath quieter. Outsiders will call it talent. Insiders will smile. They have seen what faithfulness does to the clumsy. Action is clarity's older sibling. The world waits for certainty before moving. The 2% move in order to generate certainty. They trust the physics of momentum. They trust the way a body in motion gathers friends. Courage, focus, a hint of pride earned by sweat instead of applause. They start where they stand with what they have, and the path answers by revealing the next stone. The ones who stay still insist that the map is incomplete. The movers discover that maps improve when the explorer returns with dust on their shoes and notes in the margins. Here is a young man who lost his job on a Tuesday. The quiet after the phone call is a heavy thing, and it presses on the room as if it were trying to sit in every chair. He feels it. He grieves it. Then he opens the laptop he wanted to throw and builds a page that explains a service he can provide with integrity by Friday. It is not beautiful. It is not even particularly persuasive. It is clear. He sends the link to 50 people who might need what he can deliver. 45 ignore it. 5 do not. 2 become clients. He shows up early, returns messages quickly, fixes mistakes without turning them into theater, asks for referrals without sounding like hunger. The page improves. His confidence improves. In 6 months, the rent stops worrying about itself. People use the word lucky. He keeps using the word proof. Mastery is the patience to be bad long enough to become specific. Those who stop learning after school confuse diplomas with destinies. The 2% treat curiosity like oxygen. They read because they're hungry, not because a syllabus asks them to pretend. They practice where mistakes live, not where compliments are cheap. They ask for mentors and do not require those mentors to be perfect, only useful. They soak up the shade of those who grew taller first. They teach what they learn, so the knowledge stops slipping and starts sticking. Their skill becomes less about tricks and more about timing, less about sparkle and more about staying power. The world pays for the second set, especially when pressure makes hands shake. No one climbs alone. You can love everyone and still outgrow rooms where gravity is stronger than belief. The air you breathe shapes the lungs you bring to challenge. Sit with people who ask what you built since last week, not how outraged you are at the news. Sit with people who give you the gift of precise encouragement and the sharper gift of kind confrontation. Sit with people who speak your vision back to you when your own voice is hoarse. If you cannot find them, make the room yourself. Invite 2 who are serious. Choose a time that scares laziness. Tell the truth about what you will do before you meet again. Return with receipts and lessons. Watch how quickly consistency turns strangers into teammates and teammates into a small, stubborn family that refuses to let you shrink. Money is shy with the undisciplined and loyal to those who give it a job. Those who chase it to flaunt it keep discovering how expensive vanity is. Those who direct it to serve freedom keep discovering how affordable courage becomes. There is nothing vulgar about understanding your numbers. There is nothing shallow about wanting your time back. The vulgarity is confusion. The shallowness is pretending that discipline around money somehow bruises your soul. The 2% live a notch below what they can flex so that they can say yes to things that do not pay immediately. They build a cushion so risk cannot bully them. They put a portion of their earnings where effort multiplies without their permission. They do not brag about any of this. They do not need to. Their calendar and their choices brag for them. Resilience is the quiet engine in the basement that keeps humming when the lights flicker upstairs. People with unused potential treat difficulty as an insult. People who rise treat it as an invitation to train in the exact spot where most fall. They do not romanticize the struggle. They simply refuse to be surprised by it. They hydrate. They sleep like they have a future. They ask their bodies to move so that their minds can remember they have power. They let the feelings pass through without setting up furniture in their chest. They write out the mess until the mess begins to reveal a pattern. Then they design for the pattern so that next time it shows up, it finds a wiser house. Return with me to the kitchen at 2 a.m. The woman is tired. A box bends where it should hold. An address prints crooked. She catches herself snapping at the air and laughs at the absurdity of fighting with oxygen. She fills a glass and leans against the counter. For a moment, she allows the thought that she could have chosen sleep. She also allows the memory of a future that will not require her permission to exist. Then she straightens the address, tapes the box, and whispers to the room, "I will not be intimidated by effort." The room believes her because she did not ask it to. There is a child inside you who remembers when everything felt possible before you learned to hold your breath every time you told the truth about what you wanted. Let that child ride in the front seat again. The adult will keep you safe from cliffs and scams. The child will point at the horizon and remind you which direction to walk. When the world raises its eyebrows at your enthusiasm, nod politely and keep walking. Enthusiasm is not naivete. It is fuel with good manners. Sometimes the bravest thing you will do in a day is stop. The culture will call you lazy if you protect rest. Ignore the culture. Rest is not the enemy of the grind. Rest is the maintenance of the engine. When you sleep, your future thanks you in a language your waking brain can't fully understand. When you pause, your creativity sneaks in with a solution that refuses to speak over the noise. When you step away, your momentum does not vanish. It sharpens. You return with a spine that can hold your ambitions without wobbling. You will be misunderstood. You will be told to be realistic by people whose definition of realistic is an apology for never having tried. Smile gently. You are not required to argue your future into being. You are required to build it, one decision at a time, until arguing would feel silly because your life is louder than their opinion. Imagine 3 scenes and let them live in your pocket. In the first, you are at a desk under a lamp whose bulb is older than your current excuses. You write a sentence that scares your hesitation into silence. In the second, you are in a small video call where no one performs and everyone reports. Your voice shakes. Nobody flinches. You say you missed. They ask what you learned. You tell them. You agree on what you will do next. In the third, the door you once knocked on without answer swings open because you built a key out of patience and unglamorous days. We are not finished. We have only changed our posture. Shoulders down, breath steady, eyes on the next honest action that will not impress a soul and will quietly change your life. There is a river that runs through even the most exhausted city. It is not on any tourist map. It is the current of human beings who refuse to conform to the pace of everyone else's panic. They do not hurl themselves forward with flailing arms. They move with a deliberate grace that looks like slowness to restless eyes. But if you watch carefully, you will see that they cover more ground in a week than sprinting crowds do in a month. They conserve what needs to be conserved and spend what must be spent. They are alive to the subtleties. They are alert to the moment a door softens in its frame. They hear opportunity breathing 3 rooms away. This is the river to join, not the gossip stream, not the outrage flood, the river that moves toward making, toward service, toward craft, toward compounding. Step in. The chill lasts a minute. The strength lasts a lifetime. There is a myth that you must choose between kindness and power. The 2% refuse to participate in that false choice. They are gentle with people and fierce with their standards. They are tender with their team and ruthless with their own excuses. They do not confuse softness with surrender. They do not confuse firmness with cruelty. They spend their anger sparingly, like a tool that loses its edge when overused. They spend their encouragement freely, like a currency that multiplies across accounts. Imagine the moment you fall off the plan. It will not be cinematic. It will be ordinary. You will sleep through the alarm, speak too sharply to someone who did not earn it, skip the session that was going to earn you a small win. The day will invite you to turn a single slip into a spiral, decline the invitation, make your return smaller than your setback. Walk back into your plan with the humility of someone who knows how quickly momentum forgives those who show up on time for the second chance. The older version of you did their best. They held the door during storms. They survived rooms where opportunities had deadbolts. Thank them. Then gently ask them to step aside. A new foreman is taking the shift. This one is not dazzled by moods. This one is not in love with someday. This one has a schedule, a crew, and a plan that fits inside a single day and repeats without begging for attention. There is an apartment window glowing at 1 a.m. The person inside is not martyring themselves on the altar of productivity. They are not collecting depletion like trophies. They are simply using an hour that others left on the table. In that hour, they do not create a masterpiece. They create a crumb of proof. The crumb is enough to season tomorrow with a flavor their doubt does not recognize. Soon, crumb becomes crust. Crust becomes loaf. Loaf becomes a table where others come to eat. And just like that, the person inside the glowing window becomes a lighthouse without even trying. Look down at your hands. They are not empty. They are full of choices. Sometimes the choices feel small. That is because you have been taught to worship bigness, big breaks, big platforms, big moves. The 2% respect the power of smallness done on purpose. They know how much weight a steady gram can move when given a lever and time. When the day mocks your smallness, smile. The day is young. It is still learning who you are. You do not have to convince yourself with poetry. You have to convince yourself with pattern. String together enough days where you keep your own word and your identity will update without asking your permission. You will wake one morning to discover that your first thought is no longer can I, but of course I will, because that is what we do here. The most powerful sentence in your vocabulary will not be a declaration shouted on a stage. It will be the modest whisper you live in private. I finish. Pause, softer. Let's catch our breath. Put a hand over your heart. Feel the drum. That rhythm has weathered grief you thought would break it. It has kept time through years when you forgot to be proud of it. It is still here, steady as a metronome. It will match whatever tempo you ask it to. Ask for a tempo that moves you forward. This is where we pivot from inspiration to instruction without breaking the spell. The instruction is simple enough to survive mornings when you are clumsy. Begin before you feel elegant. Do the thing that frightened your last version. Report to someone who can tell when you are hiding. Hide less each week until there is nothing left to conceal. When the world tries to bribe you with immediate comfort, answer with the patience of someone who has already seen the ending and trusts how the story turns. We will carry these sentences into the next room together. Do not put them down when the lights change. Do not adjust your oath when a breeze forgets to applaud. We will keep the same voice, the same breath, the same refusal to give our future away to the convenient explanation. Stand. Roll your shoulders back. We are not done. We are just getting precise. Now step with me into the next room. Do not change your stride. Let the last breath of the previous room be the first breath of this one. The temptation after a powerful promise is to let the echo do the work. Echoes are lovely and they die quickly. We will not live on echoes. We will live on evidence. Think of the moment you almost begin. It happens a dozen times a day. A thought taps at the window. You look up. It is the idea that would move you forward by a surprising inch if you would only let it in. You stand to open the window. A smaller thought arrives first and sits on the latch. It whispers a gentle later. It points at the dishes, the messages, the comparison that would be delicious and distracting. You sit back down. The window stays shut. The idea goes somewhere else to knock. You tell yourself the day stole your chance. The truth is kinder and sharper. You chose delay. You can choose different. There's a quiet ceremony that the 2% perform when no one is watching. They choose a time before the world's voice gets loud. They choose a place where their attention can stretch its legs without bumping into furniture. They bring a single sentence to the altar of the morning. Today, I will take one action that my future can feel. They write the action underneath, not as a wish, but as an appointment. Then they show up as if they were being paid by the hour to keep a promise to someone they respect. It turns out they are. The someone is the person they will become if they stop lying to themselves about what they can't do. A man stands on a platform waiting for a train that is late. He could burn the delay on nothing. He opens a note instead and sketches the outline for a pitch he has been pretending needed 3 uninterrupted hours. He writes bad lines first and lets them enjoy being bad. Halfway through the sketch, a good line bumps the bad one aside. The train arrives to find him already moving. By lunch, the sketch has muscles. By evening, the email with the pitch is sent. He goes to sleep with the peace of those who did not sell their day to trivialities. You are allowed to begin messy. You are forbidden to stay stuck. The voices that insist on elegance before effort are not guardians of quality. They are guards outside a door you must walk through unshowered and unpracticed if you ever wish to earn a key. The world forgives those who dare in public more easily than it forgives those who wait forever in private. Begin where you are. The room will expand to fit your courage. There is a field where stamina is built. It is not dramatic. It is muddy. The path is rutted by the boots of those who keep coming back. Each lap adds very little. 10 laps begin to mean something. 50 teach your lungs a new language. 100 change your idea of who you are. The mind will insist on shortcuts. The body will insist on honest math. Every time you choose the long way, the short way gets embarrassed and leaves. At some point on the path, fatigue will dress up as philosophy. It will suggest elaborate reasons to step off the trail. It will speak in the voices of elders and experts. Listen with respect, and then keep walking. Fatigue is allowed to contribute to the conversation. It is not allowed to vote. There is a boy who loved to draw and stopped because someone laughed at a crooked house. There is a girl who loved to speak and stopped because a teacher told her that her voice was too much for the room. There is a grown person who keeps trying to earn permission from ghosts who have long since moved to a different city. Let the ghosts rest. Begin again. Crooked houses become beautiful neighborhoods when the hand learns its own rhythm. Loud voices find the rooms that needed a bell all along. You do not need to scream to be heard. You need to say something so clearly that your future can hear you over the noise of now. Whisper the vow as if you are telling a secret you are excited to keep. I will be the kind of person who finishes. I will be the kind of person who tells the truth about my effort. I will be the kind of person who invites help before drowning. I will be the kind of person who knows what to do with a yes. When the yes arrives, and it will, do not panic. Do not sabotage the opening with a confession that you are not ready. You have been preparing in the dark while nobody clapped. You have been lifting small weights so that bigger ones would not crush you. Say thank you. Deliver in full. Ask how you can make it even better next time. The relationship with opportunity improves when opportunity realizes you are not looking to be rescued, only to be employed. Surrounding matters more than you want to admit. You are not a lone wolf. Lone wolves starve. You are an animal of deliberate packs. Find the ones who do not confuse cynicism with intelligence. Find the ones who do not worship busyness as if it were proof of importance. Find the ones who practice rest as skillfully as they practice effort. Sit at their fires and trade stories in which humility is the hero. You will walk away with a vocabulary that makes excellence feel native. Talk about money without embarrassment. Learn its shapes and seasons. Call it what it is, a tool that becomes a tyrant when avoided and a servant when understood. Place your fears on the table and label them like wires in a circuit box. This one is fear of not knowing the language. This one is fear of losing what I work to earn. This one is fear of judgment from those who equate poverty with purity. Respect the fears, then begin small and real. Put some aside where it can grow even when you are tired. Put some into a cushion that keeps emergencies from becoming tragedies. Put some into skills that will make your time more valuable a year from now. The rest can buy something nice. You are allowed nice things, just not at the price of the self you promised to build. There is an art to returning after a fall. Do not dramatize the fall. The floor is closer than pride admits. Sit, breathe. Name what happened without poetic excuses. Decide what you will do differently with the next hour. Stand, move. The body learns that the ground is not a trap. It is a place from which strong people push. If feedback bruises you beyond usefulness, you are probably confusing your work with your worth. Separate them gently. Your worth did not shrink because a sentence did not land. Your worth is the room you work inside. Your work are the objects within it. Rearrange them. Replace some. Keep the ones that hold. Invite the critique you fear from a voice you trust and ask for precision instead of approval. Precision is mercy for those who wish to improve. There is a phrase that will keep you honest when success begins to flirt with your calendar. Not yet. If your ego reaches for privileges your discipline has not earned, say it out loud. Not yet. If your appetite asks for indulgences your finances cannot carry, not yet. If your impatience demands applause before the solo is smooth, not yet. Delay is not denial. It is the craft of arriving intact. In rooms where many speak, choose to listen until you can say something that carries water. In rooms where many rest, choose to stand when your legs are good. In rooms where cynicism pays well, choose to stay poor in that currency and rich in the one that buys long seasons of peace. Your soul will recognize the exchange rate. You will encounter people who mirror your old self. Be kind. You can be a lighthouse without dragging anyone to shore. Shine steadily. Those who are ready will steer toward you. Those who are not ready will call you names that reveal their fear. Keep shining. You are not responsible for the weather. You are responsible for the light. When you do not know what to do next, make the smallest move that would embarrass your former hesitation. Open the document. Set the timer. Brew the coffee that starts the session you promised. Put on the shoes. Press publish on the imperfect paragraph that tells the truth. Call the number. Ask for the meeting. Ask again when they forget to answer. Do not bully the world into loving your work. Invite it, persistently and politely, until it cannot ignore the consistency of your knock. There is a stage with a single microphone and a single stool. You do not need to stand on it to change your life. You only need to step on the small stage that appears in your kitchen each morning when your feet hit the floor and your word awakens. Deliver the line you rehearsed in your heart. Today I will act in a way my future will thank me for. When you cannot act big, act true. 20 true days in a row will do what a single dramatic day cannot. Imagine a ledger with 2 columns. In one, write every reason you have given yourself to delay. In the other, write the smallest behavior that would contradict that reason. Close the ledger and choose a behavior from the honest column. When the first column tries to appeal the decision, tell it that the court is closed for renovation. Allow joy. There is a superstition that thinks laughter will scare away blessing. Let superstition sit in the corner by itself. Laugh with those you love. Laugh at the absurdity of starting small in a world that constantly advertises giants. Laugh at the way your brain tries to protect you by inventing melodramas that never arrive. Laughter is not a distraction. It is the proof that your nervous system remembers how to expand. There is a rooftop somewhere that you will stand upon one day, not because you were lifted, but because you climbed. You will look out over the city of your efforts and see lights that you turned on with the switch you refused to stop flipping. The temptation will be to narrate a myth about the moment you finally figured it out. Resist the myth. Tell the truth. You figured out nothing. You practiced something. The practice figured you. Do not apologize for your standards. Whisper them if you must, but keep them unbent. You can be gentle and still refuse chaos. You can be generous and still guard your calendar like a rare instrument. You can be loving and still say no to the small drains that leave you too empty to pour for the places your calling requires. When praise arrives, accept it with a nod and store it where it will not spoil. When criticism arrives, accept it with a breath and store only what will season your next attempt. Praise is not a bank account. It is a compliment on a meal you are already on your way to improving. Criticism is not a sentence. It is a spice that stings if overused and sings if measured. If you must compare yourself to the you from 3 months ago. Bring receipts. Ask whether your decisions would make that person proud. If the answer is no, do not spiral. Spiral is a staircase that goes nowhere. Adjust your step, adjust again, climb. There is a storm on the forecast. Do not waste the day trying to negotiate with clouds. Pack what you need. Secure the windows. Rest while you can. Work when it is time. Storms do not ask for your permission. They ask for your preparation. You have enough courage to handle rain. You always did. You simply forgot while the sun had you convinced it would stay. Say thank you to your body for carrying you through rooms where your mind would have wandered off. Feed it like a partner, not like a pet. Move it in ways that make it grin a little. Let sweat remind you that effort is a prayer the body speaks fluently. There is a door you once believed would never open. The paint is chipped. The handle sticks. One afternoon you try it out of habit more than hope. It yields. On the other side is not a parade. It is a hallway with 3 more doors. You laugh because you finally understand. This is the work, not waiting for doors to roll out carpets. trying the handle, trying the next one, strengthening the hand, learning the hinges, becoming the person who stops being surprised that doors open for those who learn where to push. The great secret is not a secret at all. It is a sentence you have heard before and cast aside because it sounded too simple to be true. Do the right thing, a little sooner, for a little longer, with a little more love than you feel like offering. Watch how the world, stubborn at first, starts making way. There is a child watching you. The child may be your own or the child you once were, or a stranger standing 3 rows behind you in the grocery line, or a friend who pretends not to need examples. They are watching to see if ordinary goodness can defeat ordinary gravity. Show them. You will save them years of unlearning by living 1 month with integrity that does not require an audience. When the day ends, do not measure it by the size of the applause. Measure it by whether you moved 1 stone from the pile called someday to the path called today. If you did, rest. If you did not, do not punish yourself into productivity. Shame is a poor trainer. Ask calmly why. Ask what would make tomorrow friendlier to the promise you made. Adjust your environment with the seriousness of a surgeon prepping a room. Then sleep like someone who expects to keep their appointment with dawn. You may still worry that you are late. You are not late. You arrived at the exact moment your courage finished stretching. The world will not close because you missed a trend. The world will open because you kept a vow. Keep 1 more. Keep 100 more. Let the keeping carve something in you that no crisis can steal. Let it etch a reputation into your own bones so that when fear visits, it finds hardly any space to sit down. Return with me to the kitchen, to the platform, to the small room with the stubborn light. These are your cathedrals. This is where you worship without pretense, by doing the next loving, difficult, honest thing in front of you. The miracles will continue to look like timing to outsiders. Smile and let them call it what they need to. You know the recipe. Now close your eyes for a breath so deep your ribs remember they are a cage for treasure. Open them again with the softness of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to practice. The road is not waiting to impress you. The road is waiting to carry you if you will put feet on it. Feet, not fanfare. Success is not for the chosen few. It is for the few who choose and choose again, and keep choosing until the choosing stops being a drama and becomes a habit that hums under every ordinary hour. Decide, then begin, then persist, then correct, then rest, then begin again. Do it clumsily until you can do it cleanly. Do it quietly until the results get loud. Do it kindly so your future thanks you and your present does not fracture under the weight of your own ambition. There will be a morning when you wake up, and the first thought is not a question. It is a knowing. You will swing your legs out of bed, and the floor will feel like a friend. The thing you feared will feel like a familiar staircase. The plan will not feel like a cage. It will feel like a key. You will look out the window, and the horizon will look back without squinting. This is what happens when you honor the small. The small honors you back. Make your life an argument so persuasive that you can retire from explaining. Make your days a body of work that hands your critics a strange mercy. They get to watch you become undeniable without needing to admit they were wrong. Make your evenings a soft place to land because you did what you said you would, and you did it with a tenderness that did not trample anyone on the way. And when the mountain throws wind at you that feels personal, laugh. Wind is not personal. It simply does what wind does. You too will do what you do. You will lean, you will brace, you will take 1 more step. The summit is not a crown. It is a viewpoint that will show you more mountains. You will smile, take a breath, and choose again. This is the way. No fanfare, no secret handshake, just the miracle of ordinary courage practiced daily until it becomes destiny. If you need 1 more sentence to carry into the next hour, take this and let it live under your tongue. I will be the person who proves it. Now go. The door has always been unlocked. Turn the handle. Walk through. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking.